Welcome back to Watching the Throne on the Late Night Chat Network, episode 32. Welcome back, everybody.
All right, welcome back, bro.
Jay, are you excited to talk about this episode? Because I sure am.
Yeah. I want to see your fucking reaction. That's what actually I've been waiting for this whole
So,
fucking week.
so welcome back, everybody,
Yeah.
to Watching the Throne. This is our Game of Thrones review show. As we go through episode by episode and kind of like discuss our thoughts, give you our thoughts and feelings on every episode, Jay.
Oh yeah, just our thoughts and our reactions and stuff like that.
and
Not even opinions, just that.
And Jay, this is his first time I ever watching Game of Thrones. This is actually my second time watching it through because I never actually went back and rewatched the show. So it's cool to get our reactions on this, and we do have plans to be bringing on some more guests during this season, actually. So for the first time to the show, so stay tuned. We have some other super Game of Thrones super fans basically that are going to be coming on and joining us. So
Can't wait, man.
yeah,
There's so many of them. I didn't realize.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. That'll be a lot of fun. But make sure you subscribe to the channel here if this is your first time checking us out. Thank you for checking out the show, but make sure you're subscribed. You can go back and watch our other shows in the playlist, Watching the Throne. And you can also see now you got me thinking, you got me in my head. Am I saying thrones? Am I saying thrones?
Go back. I've watched a few of them. And trust me, man.
Yeah.
I just hold back. I'm not gonna say nothing. No.
But yeah, go check it out, guys. Hit that like button and hit the subscribe. And thank you for tuning in. But yeah, this is episode 32 of Watching the Throne. And today we're going to be discussing the episode The Lion and the Rose, which is season 4, episode 2 of Game of Thrones. And as we normally do at the start here, Jay, your overall thoughts of this one?
Interesting, bro. Very interesting. A lot of action, a lot of fucking storyline going on in this one to keep up with. And
This is a great episode. This is a great episode.
At the end of the day, like these ones, okay, you don't think this is gonna be a season 2? Episode 2 of a season, right? This one didn't. This one felt more like a fucking season ending.
But this is what they do on this show. This is how they get you unexpectedly. Now, so again, I shouldn't have to say this, guys, because this is a review show where we're breaking down episode by episode of this show. So I will say spoilers for you guys if you guys didn't already know that. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Were you surprised by the Joffrey death at the end of this fucking episode?
Of course.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be
like
this
legit
early.
Shocked, eh? Like,
well, I didn't know it was going to be this early. And then they left it kind of open-ended because I don't know if they just kind of ended the scene at the end, right? So I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
Bro, he's dead. Come on.
Okay, I don't know, man. This show is surprising you every episode, so I don't know, man. Maybe come back as a fucking one of those fucking white guys with the fucking
the White Walkers, yeah.
Or white, yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned. But you said there when you did mention that just now, you said I wasn't expecting it this soon. So what? You had your thoughts that he was gonna get killed at some point.
Well, I mean, a cocky little prick that he is, bro. I mean, come on, I couldn't last forever in a man's world. That's almost like he's a little boy in a man's world.
Yes,
it's a totally different ball game, and at the end of the day, I'm kind of. I was starting to like that cockiness, but I was kind of happy on the way it played out after it all played out.
I hate this piece of shit, so I was very happy when this happened.
Especially after that almost final scene, that second to final scene, right?
Yeah.
That one made it all worth it.
Absolutely, the way they built that up. He's a piece of garbage. He's a piece of shit. So. Although it does not look good for our friend Tyrion at the end of this episode either. Right?
Yeah, a lot of things look a little weird at the end of this episode, man. I didn't know they had you will get to it when we get to
so
see
yeah, we're jumping ahead. But I just wanted to say overall, I thought this was an excellent episode. Not even for the reason being like I hate Joffrey, but like it is just a really good episode. So, okay, so we're gonna start out here. Our first scene here is at the Dreadfort. That's basically where Bolton Ramsey's what's his name, bastard Ramsey Snow is located here, and it starts out with a bang. This episode, basically in the forest.
Okay, is everybody that's a bastard named Snow?
Yes, we went over this before.
Did you? Because I
Yes.
can remember that. Yeah.
All the
Okay, 'cause
bastards are called Snow.
They are. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So this is Ramsey Snow. So
So they all could have one father. That's what they're implying.
yeah. So Bolton, House Bolton is who, where basically who he is aligned with,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Roose Bolton. Sorry, Roose Bolton. I said Bolton Ramsey there like an idiot. So Roose Bolton, of
Yeah.
course, that we know, who was instrumental in fucking killing Rob. Yeah, exactly. And then kind of it was a big part of that, all that. Now he's also Warden of the North because he was assigned that. Remember, he was assigned that, given that because of the fact that he took out Rob there at the wedding.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is his bastard, who we didn't actually know his name previous to the end of the last season because he was just some guy torturing Theon. We didn't really know who he was, right? So now we know this. So in the forest surrounding the Dreadfort, the seat of House Bolton, Ramsey Snow hunts a peasant girl for sport at the start of this episode. Yeah. He's literally running through the woods, chasing this girl, trying to kill her like a sick fucking game. This guy's a sadistic fuck, this dude. He likes playing with people. Yeah, he's fucked, this guy.
You can tell maybe he's a little bit of a bastard or something.
And we see
genes are a little messed up.
And we see here now Theon Greyjoy full out Reek mode, because as you know, at the end of the last season, he fucking made him his bitch and he gave him the new name Reek. Yeah. But the mental strain of that he's been enduring under fucking this guy, you can tell now, like he's a former shell of himself. He is now Reek. He is Reek now, essentially. He's no longer Theon. He's just basically being led around by the
I feel so bad. Yeah. I wanted to come back. I kind of liked him, and now he's just like, he has to be a little bitch for this guy.
Yeah, so he's with that chick Miranda there, and Theon, who's now goes by Reek, and along with a pack of savage dogs. The girl is eventually brought down and torn to pieces by the dogs, much to Reek's horror at the end of this scene. Yeah, because and you can see like the look on his face, like how fucked up an experience and the shit that he's had to endure, basically.
He looks bad too, man.
Yeah,
he looks rough.
He looks rough. Yeah, he looks like thinner. He looks he looks.
I thought he was getting chased, but no, he was just running too, right, to make sure he kept up because they didn't give him a horse.
He's his bitch now, essentially, right? Yeah, but yeah, I just said, yeah, Ramsey is a sadistic fucking person, and it's
kind of neat. The character, the way they thought him up, he is kind of neat in a sense.
What a crazy storyline, though. What a crazy storyline, man. So
I don't even know where this comes from. Like, I get it, like the between the houses, but I just don't know where this is, like, this storyline.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. So then we go over to King's Landing. This is a great scene. Over a meal, Jaime and Tyrion discuss Jaime's gilded steel hand, and he discloses to Tyrion that he can no longer fight. And again, this is what I was talking about the last episode. I like how he confides in Tyrion in this moment. Like, he opens up. He couldn't admit this to really anybody else, but he says to him, he's like, I got bad news. Like, I can't. He's like, because he's trying to, obviously he's like saying fuck you to his father. He's gonna still do this, but he, like, admittingly to Tyrion, he admits to Tyrion, though, he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like, he's just like, I can't fight anymore. Like, and this whole time he's just been kind of ensuring everybody else around him, Cersei, his father, like, I'll be fine, don't worry about me. And like, he admits to him, he's like, I can't fight. And all of his instincts are wrong using his left hand. I guess he was right-handed, right?
It's more of like a blocking thing, I think, with the left hand, right?
Yeah, and Jaime is perturbed that people will find out that he cannot fight. So Tyrion tells him that he needs to train with his left hand with someone trustworthy in order to better protect the king as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. So Tyrion, in this moment, as he confides in him, he actually it helps him, right? Which I thought was a really nice moment. He's really vulnerable in this scene, Jaime, and that's what I mean.
Some advice on how to get away with it too. Like, you can always try to, hide it. The fact that you can up to a certain point, right?
And of course, who did Tyrion get to help
Yeah, of
him? But our
course.
boy Bronn here. So
Yeah.
later, Jamie waits in the courtyard by the sea for his training partner that Tyrion has arranged. Bronn emerges with 2 training swords. Jamie remarks that he hasn't wielded a sparring sword since he was 9.
Yeah.
As they commence training, Bronn uses his usual dirty tactics and gets the better of Jamie, teaching him not only to use his offhand, but encouraging him to fight dirtier as a
Yeah.
result of the fact that now he's only got 1. So,
Well,
yeah.
you have to, man. I would think I would use that arm as a the right arm as a
Mhm.
fucking punch, man.
Mhm.
That would be crazy. Just leave it as a fist. Fuck the hand.
I think it is important that he
Yeah.
learns this from him because, like, he is obviously like he sees himself as like a righteous knight kind of character. Jamie, it seems like, other than the fact that he was the Kingslayer,
And he
right?
feels like that's all he has, really.
Right. And we had seen him previous to this. Jamie is
Yeah.
a good sword fighter. He took down Ned Stark, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he was a good sword fighter.
Yeah.
So it is the one thing he kind of had pride in. He's dedicated his life to, right? So, like, which also I never thought of it this way, but I don't know if this is reason why he would have pushed him to do this, because I think there's other fucked up things at play here.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's part of the Kingsguard, he can never marry, so maybe that also influenced him to go fuck his sister. I don't know, because it's kind of like being a priest
That's why
with
you
the
didn't
kids.
want that guy to find. Yeah, exactly. There you go. I didn't even. That was a quick one, bro.
It's the
So you
same
threw
thing.
that underneath
Yeah,
me,
it's,
man. I was like, what the hell was
it's the
that?
same thing, Jay.
Yeah, it is. But no, and then that's probably why they were worried about Bran when he seen them, right? You know what I mean? Because they should be fucking, right? And if he's smart enough, he knows that. That kid.
Although, like, let's be honest, it doesn't never says anything about you can't fuck people, you just can't marry them. So I guess it doesn't explain any of that stuff, especially the priest thing. I take that back.
You can't read. You can't read between the lines, man. You're not supposed to sleep with your sister, everybody.
But I really, so anyways, I really like this scene though, because even though like Bronn like ends up like he gets the better of him a couple of times in this, Jamie's like, okay, like let's get it going. Like he pushes himself in this scene.
Yeah.
It'd be
He doesn't
so easy for him, that being who he is, to be like a bitch and be like, oh no, I give up, like, because he's a
Well,
rich
we've
guy.
seen that he doesn't give up.
That's what I mean. But he's a rich kid though. But
Yeah.
you would think that he would have that attitude, but he doesn't. Like, you know what I mean?
Because
Like,
they're the type that wants that, like we said last episode. They're the type that want to, they have daddy issues. So they're the type that are gonna want to show them up, and like, listen, we're gonna get it done.
it
regardless.
pushes him. Yeah. So I
think it gives them all that kind of drive.
Mhm.
Maybe not Cersei. I don't know about Cersei so much, but at least the guys that I noticed, right? Tyrion and Jamie there. So who knows, right? That could be part of it too, right? But
Mhm.
they have that instinct, and maybe that's because of their jawline. Sorry.
Right. No, but that's what I mean. I did like that in this scene. Like he was able to push himself past that and be like, okay, like let's do this, right? Like
I mean, that thing would come in handy too. That sidearm too, because I mean, really, if you can't cut through it,
right. Well, that's what
Right?
he's kind of basically trying to teach him how to be here. And like Bronn's not the best sword fighter, but he can hold his own. And we've seen him do that. That's how he saved Tyrion when he
Yeah.
first he fought dirty in that
Yeah,
fight, if you
yeah.
recall. He fought dirty as hell, but he
Yeah,
won.
yeah.
And he was like, and that's when he pushed that guy into the fucking moon door or whatever.
Yeah.
Remember? So Bronn can handle himself. So I think he's a good teacher for him.
Remember,
And-
nobody's gonna get mad if you fight. dirty back then, bro.
No. So, but it was just, again, like, he's so taken aback. He's like, oh, you fight dirty. He's like, yeah, and you should learn how to too. Like, now that you fucking got one arm, right? Like, yeah. I liked his line here. Bronn always with the best lines there. I always have to highlight his. He's like,
I can't write down all the quotes.
JV says here, is this place safe? And he's like, there's this knight, lay good. Got thunderbolts on his shield. He's like, He's like, right here is where I fuck his wife. She's a screamer, that one. If they don't hear her, they won't hear us. Oh, Bronn has the best lines, man.
But who's he referring to? His wife?
He's saying that there's a guy that's part of the Kingsguard that he fucks his wife there,
Oh,
and
okay,
that's
okay.
in
Not
that.
a specific person, just
Well, that's what he's saying. He's like, "Do you know this guy Laygood or whatever
yeah.
his fucking name is?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, I fuck his wife here, so if they don't hear us banging, then they're not gonna hear us fighting
It's
here and
funny.
trading."
The guy named Laygood's getting cheated on by
Yeah, exactly.
another guy. That's kind of fucked up. Okay. So now we go see Ramsey.
Yeah, we're back to Ramsey now here. Yeah, so
Ramsey and the father.
soon after, Roose Bolton arrives at the Dreadfort, accompanied by a detachment of his army, including Locke, who we know previously. Locke is the guy who we seen with Jamie previously. He was the one that was an asshole to Jamie that cut off his hand.
Yeah,
Locke,
that's
yeah.
the one.
And Roose's new wife, Walda Bolton. Ramsey greets his father and his new stepmother, as well as privately congratulating Locke for his maiming of the Kingslayer.
Yeah.
Roose wants
He's
to
cocky though.
yeah. Roose wants to see Ramsey's captive, Theon Greyjoy. Theon is brought to Roose's chambers, where Roose is disgusted and angered to learn that Ramsey has tortured and flayed Theon as Balon Greyjoy's sole surviving male heir. Yeah, because he gives him some shit. He's like, this is my bargaining piece here.
What else do I got?
What
now?
the fuck? He's like, what did you do to this man? Like, as soon as he comes out, he's like so timid and he's like looking down. He's like, the fuck is wrong with this guy? Right? Like, he's like, what did you do to him? Right? And he's like, yeah, you know, he's like, I speak for you. He's like, no, you don't speak. He's like, you're a Snow. Like, he basically says, like, you're a bastard. You don't fucking speak for me. Like, he said, what do you mean you made deals with it? Because you know how he sent his cock to him and the fucking, you didn't tell him that part of that in the story, right?
No.
Yeah.
He didn't say that though. He just said what he did.
Yeah, so he's disgusted and angered to learn Ramsey has tortured and flayed Theon as Balon Greyjoy's sole surviving male heir. Theon was a valuable hostage. Roose notes that while he has been named Warden of the North, Tywin Lannister will not help him reclaim the North from the Ironborn, and he had intended on trading Theon for Moat Cailin, a strategically placed fortress on the border between the North and the Riverlands currently held by Greyjoy forces. Now, what he also doesn't know at this point in time is that Theon's sister is actually on her way to try to save him, right? As we learned at the end of last season. Yeah. Ramsey retorts that he already sent terms and that Balon refused him. Roose is furious that Ramsey did so without his consent, but Ramsey demonstrates that his actions have made Reek docile and unable to betray him.
Greyjoys are gonna flip out, bro.
Yeah, and this is where to basically prove to his father that he's fucked up now, like that he has him under his thumb. Dude. Essentially, he gets him to shave him in this scene. Ramsey gets him to admit that Bran and Rickon Stark are still alive. Bran and Rickon Stark are still alive. Ramsey reminds his father that the boys are now heirs to House Stark's rule of the North following Robb Stark's death. And nearly all the Northerners who are furious at House Bolton and House of Frey's treachery against the Starks will rally behind Bran and Rickon rather than Roose if they learn the boys are alive. So he now knows that he will lose his following in the North, even though he's now the warden, because they will now follow the kids because they're still technically Starks, right? So he's kind of like trying to show his father that he has this whole plan with how things are going to go, that they need to kind of get out ahead of this right now, right?
Something about Theon was the one who just burned.
He admitted that it was the kids. It was other kids that they burned. It was like farmers' kids. Yeah, as we know. Yeah, so basically, Ramsey, knowing how close Theon was to Robb, gleefully taunts him by revealing details of the Red Wedding. And this is when you said like he's gonna go off the deep end. Yeah,
with a blade on his neck.
But again, it's like
But do you think Bolton would have fucking been he would think because he was his bastard, you think he would have really cared at the end of the day?
No,
I was wondering.
Not at all.
You think he would have still bargained with them and said,
well, you can tell that Ramsey is vying for his affection. Like he wants it. He wants to be part of the family. You know what I mean? Like,
he is his blood, but he's
no, he's not though.
Or is he the mother's blood?
I don't know. We don't know.
Well, he's got to be. If he's the bastard, he's got to be
one of theirs. Yeah. Oh, his. Yeah.
Right. So half him.
Yeah. But it just seems like the bastards aren't well respected, like most of them.
No,
right?
Obviously,
so, yeah.
It's a disgrace because you're out there
right.
when you're married, right?
basically, and he basically tells him about how it was Roose who personally murdered Robb as he's standing there, despite being clearly shaken to know the man he considered a brother is now
He
dead.
paused. I was hoping that he
Yeah,
just did it, man. I didn't know what the fuck
Theon
he was
does
gonna
not
do.
openly react though. It's like the that syndrome where they fall for their captors. Like he's
Oh
fucked
yeah.
up now.
Well,
Like
no,
what's it
yeah,
called?
but he's mentally fucked
What the
now.
hell
Like
is
he's
that one
worried that if he
called?
says the wrong,
Stockholm
yeah,
syndrome. Yeah,
he's
it's
worried
like
about
something like I wouldn't say he's in love with them, but he's so messed up in the head now because of being held captive
yeah,
by this man. Like he's basically he can't do anything,
I mean,
right?
like yeah, and that's one of those things like yeah, you're worried that
So,
as soon as something he says wrong, if
right.
he's not spoken to or whatever, at that time, boom, you're gonna get something else cut
Right.
off.
So this
Dude, I
is
mean, you just cut your dick off, for
a
fuck's
pretty
sake.
crazy scene. Yeah. So Roose dispatches Locke with orders to find and kill Bran and Rickon. After finding this out, Reek suggests that Jon Snow might either be sheltering the boys at Castle Black or at least may know where they have gone. While Ramsay advocates killing Jon as well, given the fact that he has Stark blood, could lead him to becoming a threat. So now I think Roose gives him the orders as well to kind of take care of this now. Now it's like you got some snow on snow bastard action going on here, possibly, right?
The bastard fight. That's
Since,
what it's called. The episode.
yeah. Since the Northerners will rally behind him, he will simply seek revenge. Although harming Jon would constitute a grave crime since he is part of the Night's Watch and thus legally untouchable by the Seven Kingdoms. Roose gives Ramsay orders as well to take Theon and an army to Moat Cailin and reclaim the fortress from the Greyjoys. If he succeeds, so yeah, it's not to go after Jon because he says that he's kind of untouchable. Like, what are they going to do if he goes there?
Yeah.
But he says if he succeeds, Roose will give considerations to legitimizing Ramsay as a member of House Bolton. So he's not really a legitimate part of his house right now. Like he has not made him part of his house.
Yeah.
So he says he basically waves that opportunity in front of him and says, "Take care of this for me. Figure out the Greyjoy situation, and I'll make you part of my house." Right.
Yeah.
So
We'll
he has
have
to prove
see.
himself. He has to prove himself.
We'll have to see, man. What's
Yeah.
gonna happen because that's gonna be a fucking situation.
Yeah. So the see everything coming together, it's getting really fucking interesting.
I mean, and it takes a while for the birds to get the note there. So
that's right.
It's gonna be a while for the traveling, all that stuff.
So yeah, there's some
could be
interesting
months down
stuff
the road.
going on, man. So now we're back in King's Landing. Tyrion finds Varys on his way to a breakfast celebration on the day of Joffrey's wedding. Varys divulges that Shay has been spotted. He's already figured this out because of his little birdies there, and that his sister Cersei has been notified. Varys then says that there is nothing he can do to protect Shay any longer in fear of Tywin Lannister, the Hand of the King. Or Cersei finding out that he has been lying to them. Tyrion then says that Shay will not leave King's Landing and is warned that Tywin has threatened to hang her. The next whore that Tyrion is seen with, which we already know that he's given him that threat,
he's
right?
told him that, yeah.
Yeah, so this is getting
poor
scary.
guy, man. You can't bang any more whores. No, like
it's like banging whores. What's the problem, right?
He's just a little guy. Let him fucking have his fun, man, and you too.
Yeah. So, at the breakfast celebration, Mace Tyrell gifts Joffrey a magnificent golden chalice with 7 facets. I don't know how you say it. One for each of the major houses in the 7 kingdoms, and wishes him and his daughter, Marjorie Tyrell, a long and happy marriage. Joffrey graciously accepts. Cersei spots Shay and tells Tywin that she is Tyrion's whore, and he commands for her to be sent to the Tower of the Hand before the wedding. So already this shit's about to go down. Like they're already plotting against his whore. Like while he's sitting there, like kind of witnessing all this, right?
He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He sees it, but this whole fucking situation gets crazy.
Yeah. Tyrion overhears this and looks pissed off, but proceeds to approach Joffrey and Podrick Payne, Tyrion's squire, and presents him with the lives of 4 kings.
It's a book.
Yeah, a book detailing the reigns of 4 kings by Grandmaster Kaith. Joffrey accepts the gift, and in like a very rare occasion, he actually
Yeah.
shows him respect in this moment
Yeah,
and
well,
actually thanks him for the gift. But I think he's just trying to keep up appearances in front of the parents of
Well,
Marjorie,
I don't know
right?
how you
Of
can
his
say
father,
that, to be
right?
honest, because I mean, with what's coming up next, I don't know how you can.
Well,
I thought he genuinely meant like
in this
we'll be
moment,
learning after. There'll
yeah.
be enough time for us to learn after we the celebration or some
Well, in
shit.
the notes here, it says his sincerity seems questionable, right?
Yeah, it's like what the fuck all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A member of the Kingsguard then presents a Valerian steel sword. And this is where the second sword is from the last episode that they forged with the two
yeah.
swords, right? And Tywin tells him, Tywin tells him that it is one of the two swords of its kind in the capital. And Joffrey rushes to wield it. He promptly begins to slash at
Big
Tyrion's
kid,
gift,
man.
despite its rarity, and then asks for suggestions on its name from guests in attendance. So
There's a cunt. There you
yeah,
go.
even the next second, he starts chopping away at the gift that he was just given by Tyrion, right?
Like, yeah, it was like, okay, there goes that
So
fucking friendship.
he
That
settles.
yeah, he can see the sword. Oh, this is much
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
It's like a big kid.
that didn't last long.
No,
He settles on the name the Widow's Wail for his sword in this scene. All right.
yeah,
So
so yeah.
after
That's fucked
breakfast,
up.
Tyrion is visited in his chambers by Shae, and he informs her that there is a ship waiting for her bound for Pentos.
Feel bad for him in this.
Yeah, and that their friendship is at an end. Realizing that Shae will defiantly refuse to flee in the face of danger, he concludes that the only way to convince her to leave King's Landing and save herself is to brutally reject her. So he basically just starts calling her a whore.
Yeah, you
I
could tell. I
fucked
don't
all
think he
kinds
means
of.
it.
No, this is pushing her
Yeah,
away. This
trying
is
to get her
pushing her
angry.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what?
She doesn't want to leave, man. She
No,
really doesn't want to, and I know he doesn't want her either to. And unfortunately,
I
he's in a weird
know.
situation.
He has to act like a dick to her though to get her to
Yeah,
fucking cry and run
to
away,
leave. Yeah,
right? Yeah. So it's kind of a shitty moment, but
just
he
wants to
does it
keep
for
her
her.
safe, man.
Well, I mean, listen, he had to act. We
Yeah.
saw what was going on
Yeah.
down. He had to act. So yeah, he tells her at an enormous pain to himself as well as to her that she's only a whore and he cannot love her. When Bronn enters and tries to escort her away, she slaps him
Poor Bronn,
and
for
runs
what?
out furious and brokenhearted. Yeah.
Like he just walked into the room and he gets
Yeah.
smacked. Like what the fuck?
All right,
I guess
so
she didn't want to reach down to
no.
Tyrion.
Nice one,
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Boom.
Boom.
There you go. All right. So now we're on to Dragonstone, which
Here
is
we go.
where Baratheon is here.
Stannis and everybody.
Yeah, Stannis. On the beach of Dragonstone, Melisandre presides over a public burning ceremony, setting 3 people chained to stakes ablaze as an offering to the Lord of Light. One of the condemned is Queen Selyse Baratheon's own brother, Axel Florent, executed for his lack of faith in the Lord's power. Watching the proceedings, Sir Davos holds his tongue, though his disgust both for the ritual and Melisandre are plain. Melisandre is surprisingly silent throughout the proceedings. It is Selyse who takes the greatest pleasure in the ritual. Afterwards, Stannis and Selyse eat dinner with Melisandre as a guest at their table. The royal couple argue over their daughter, Princess Shireen Baratheon. Selyse believes the girl's disfigurement is a punishment from the Lord of the Light, but Stannis angrily forbids his wife from trying to physically chastise her daughter for her perceived faults. Which I thought was good on Stannis because, like,
one thing he's doing kind of.
I mean, well, listen, like, I felt like Stannis is the one that's got her hidden away, but like, even in this scene, like, even though that might be the case, he was just like, don't fucking like say that about her, like, you know what I mean? Like, he was, yeah. So Lee switches tactics and suggests that Melisandre speak to Shireen. Stannis doesn't protest, but Melisandre doesn't look particularly interested in the task. Nonetheless, Melisandre does speak with Shireen, who heard the death of her uncle from her bedroom window, explaining in gentle yet matter-of-fact terms that the faith of the Seven and its holy books are lies. Melisandre insists there are only 2 gods, the Lord of the Light and the Great Other.
it's not like really. I mean, heaven and hell in a sense. They're
Mhm.
like
And they're
she's
constantly at war. Yeah,
yeah. It's kind of
yeah, yeah,
fucking weird. Yeah,
yeah. But this is the great
depending
line.
on what they believe in.
This
You know
is
what I
the
mean?
great line of the scene, though, I think what a lot of us can agree on. When Shireen asks if there is any truth to the faith's belief in 7 heavens and 7 hells, Melisandre replies, "There is only one hell, and it's the
We're
one that
here.
we live in."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Which,
know what? And it's you know what? A lot of people say that. It's
yes,
not a. It's a common fucking phrase.
I
It's not like
mean, but
original,
that's what I mean. But I
but
think it's like we can all possibly agree on
oh
that
yeah,
one,
for
right?
sure.
So,
Like
because
it's
if
just
you
fucked up,
you
man.
see the fucked up stuff that happens in the world, then
Yeah.
you are living in a hell of sorts, right? It's not like it's every day. I mean, every day it
Well, it's
is.
getting hot enough nowadays.
Yeah,
Fires
yeah, the
popping up
smoke.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
we're not far off, man. Oh, dude. But yeah, no, it's so true. Like it was a good phrase, and it's something that we all relate to,
Mhm.
and you can that's the first thing when she said that it kind of popped off. It was like, yeah, I've heard that a million times.
Yeah, I
It
thought
was
that
the
was a good
perfect time to say it.
good way to end the scene, though, for
Yeah.
sure, right? So, all right, so now we're over beyond the wall here.
This is a little fun.
Yeah, we follow the point of view of a panning figure traveling through a dark snow-covered forest. It kills a deer. Just as the figure makes its kill, it's revealed that the figure is Summer and that Bran Stark has been warging into Summer. Bran's warging.
Sure,
Well,
fun.
this is a scene where we learn a lot about his powers more
Yeah,
stuff.
we get to
Yeah,
hear
which
a
is
little bit
very,
more.
very interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot that we learn in this scene just from them talking about this.
Yeah.
Bran's warging is interrupted by Mira Reed, who says that Bran has been gone for hours. Bran is not happy about having been snapped out of his warging, saying that he was eating. Jojen Reed clarifies. Now, this is the interesting thing we find out here,
Yeah.
that Summer was eating, and that what Bran cannot gain sustenance from is what Summer eats. Like he can't get
Get the
what,
food right
yeah.
now. Yeah.
And he also says that if he ends up being in that person for too long, he loses himself, like essentially.
Yeah,
Like
he's gonna be stuck on the fucking
he
in that
says,
dream
I
in a
know
sense,
it's
right?
tempting, but if you're trapped in summer for too long, you'll forget what it was like to be human, he
Yeah.
says to him. And he basically warns him that if you work for too long and you're in another thing, you're basically going to lose your own like self. Like,
Yeah,
and,
you'll
and
forget what it's like if you start to act like start
you
barking
go
and
too
howling.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
come back
yeah.
out.
So I thought that was really interesting. So then they both caution Bran that warging so long is dangerous for other reasons, even though it allows Bran the mobility he lost when he was injured. Bran would become trapped, forgetting his friends, his family, his home, and even himself. And if Bran forgets himself, they all lose everything. The
Yeah,
group,
that's the scary part. Because
yeah,
it's not really a bad option, but if you're forgetting all that stuff, but the way it's going, I mean, there's not gonna be nobody to remember anyway,
it,
so why not?
it reminds me of a storyline that was in a Venom comic one time. Flash Thompson in the comics, he ends up Peter Parker's friend. He ends up he went to war and he's a vet, like not a vet. Yeah, he went to war and he basically he loses his legs in war. And then they give him the Venom suit that they actually weaponize it, the army.
Yeah.
They take the women with the Venom, the symbiote, and they actually give him the suit to wear.
Yeah.
But when he's in the suit, he has full mobility again, even though he lost his legs, because he's given legs as a result of being in the Venom suit.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening to him is the Venom takes a strong hold on him, the Venom symbiote, because he ends up staying in the suit longer and longer and longer
He's enjoying it
because
again,
he's
that
able to walk
Yeah.
again. Yeah. So this kind of reminds me of that. That's what they're warning of him of here. Like, we know you enjoy being able to do all this stuff as you're warging and all that, but like you can't do that. And that, I don't know, it just reminded me of that storyline, because then it became like you become addicted to it. You become addicted to doing that. Like it's like, even there's
Like
another
a video game.
Yeah, well, it's just even like there's an Iron Man storyline too, where he gets addicted to wearing the suit.
Well, yeah,
and
wouldn't you?
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But then it becomes bad for you. Like it actually, you need to like
That human interaction.
yeah. So too much of anything is a bad thing. I
But
think
he had that look on his face, like, is it such a bad thing? Until he found out that he's not gonna remember anybody, right?
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck you interrupted me
doesn't
for?
walk, right?
Yeah. But that's what I mean. But this is his
He
escape.
gets sustenance.
Yeah.
Does he get food and all that stuff? Like
They're saying he doesn't.
He doesn't.
No.
So the nutrition isn't.
So
There's no
if
point.
he stayed in that state for days on end,
Yeah,
he
he
could kill
shrinks right. Yeah,
himself.
yeah, it can be dead. Yeah, before you know it.
So that's what they're trying to say here. And that's what it reminded me of, those comic storylines, because it happened to him too. Like, he was in the symbiote for so long
Yeah.
that, like, he didn't want to not wear it, and
Yeah.
it was bad for him, and it took a fucking crazy hold on him because of the fact that it's like an alien
Yeah,
symbiote,
yeah.
right? Like, that's so, like, yeah. But again, like, the chance to walk again, to be in animals, to fly, to do that, like, it would be tempting
Yeah,
not to
of
want to do
course.
this all the time,
Yeah,
right?
of
Like,
course.
yeah. So the group breaks camp and continues traveling through the forest. They eventually come upon a weirwood tree. Bran has Hodor take him to the tree. Bran touches the tree just under the face carved into it and sees a vision. Several images rush to Bran's mind, including swarms of crows and the fall that paralyzed him. He also sees the three-eyed raven taking flight in a darkened corridor and later landed on a tree. Bran sees his father sharpening ice in the black cells and being led to his execution.
Mhm.
The Red Keep abandoned and covered in snow, and the shadow of a dragon flying over King's Landing. So now these might be some foreshadowing moments here. Not
You
only are you
get a
seeing stuff
cameo.
from the past, but maybe you're
Yeah.
seeing stuff that's going to
Well,
come
not a
to
cameo.
fruition,
You
right?
get one shot of Ned's face, man.
Yeah. Bran also sees several images of different weirwood trees located on top of an otherwise barren mountain. During the vision, a gravely voice tells Bran to look for me beneath the tree, north. Bran snaps out of his vision, out of breath, but then matter-of-factly states, I know where we have to go.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta go
Yeah.
north. Time to go north, man.
Yeah. So
He's been
that's
saying that, but no, hasn't he?
yeah, but they haven't been listening to him.
Yeah.
Well, they've been trying not to
And
because
it
they're
was
like,
it only one single tree, or was it a couple trees? I thought
it
it was
was a
one.
couple.
I thought it was one big red one, or that was the first one. That
Yes, that was the first one, but
There's
there's a
that
bunch
wolf
that he
let
saw.
him.
Yeah, but the one that he has to go to now, I think it's just the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so then we're back in King's Landing. Joffrey and Marjorie's wedding ceremony takes place in the Great Sept of Baelor, conducted by the High Septon, and they are wed in front of gods and men. So yeah, so this is the final great scene of the episode,
This is
guys.
like the
So
last fucking 45 minutes
yeah,
of the
this is
episode.
pretty awesome. So we'll get into this. I did want to mention though, right
Tyrion.
now, Tyrion asks Braun in this scene, which is very important. If Shay is gone, he confirms that she boarded the ship. When Tyrion asks if he saw it sail away, Braun assures him that no one has been following him while escorting her, and that she is gone, and no one knows about it except for the two of them and Varys. He then advises Tyrion to go and drink until it feels like he did the right thing. So he's feeling remorse about having to make this decision in this moment. He's very upset by it, clearly, Tyrion. And Braun tries to reassure him by letting him know, it's like, I took care of it. Don't worry, right? Like, I saw her get on the boat, right? Now, do you think she actually is gone, Jay?
I don't know. I was trying to think. I don't think so. I'll be honest with you. I don't
Mhm.
think so. I don't know if she actually listened to him. I hope she did, but
Right.
I don't want to look too far ahead and see what
Fair,
happens, right?
fair. So Marjorie, I do find it interesting though that we don't see this. We don't. It happens off screen. Whenever shit happens off screen, it's hard to basically
Yeah, well, it
determine
makes
as
you.
a viewer whether or not it actually happened,
Yeah,
right? So because you're not actually seeing it,
yeah, and
right? So
you won't know anything of it until, if
that's
anything,
right.
next episode or not, right? So
I gotta say, Marjorie, despite her ridiculous hairdo in this, looks great. Like, the hairdo is a little crazy. It's like some like really high, like
I
kind
don't
of
know
like
what's going on.
I don't know what's going on,
Yeah,
but she still looks great though.
but she does,
Super
man.
hot.
Oh yeah, fuck, she is. I don't know what's her problem. Well, yeah, but yeah. So now the celebration begins.
Yeah, so the celebration begins. At his wedding feast, King Joffrey speaks to the crowd about contemplating history. Out of a large golden lion, 5 dwarves were hired out, representing Joffrey, Renly Baratheon, Stannis Baratheon, Robb Stark, and Balon Greyjoy, each of the 5 kings in the War of the 5 Kings. The dwarves put on a performance, jousting, fighting, and making crude sexual acts.
Dude, this was hilarious. I mean, they had a couple little things. Just where the guy was trying to serenade Marjorie, and Joffrey was a little bitchy about it and threw some money at her. But fucking, then he starts with these little dwarfs, man, and I feel fucking. I don't know if I should laugh. I know it's just for fucking,
Right.
but the way he's doing the reenacting, they're doing the reenacting, and he's got it going, and he's like excited like a little fucking, 2-year-old, bro. I was dying, man.
Mhm.
Right? Like it was fucked up. It was just, and for poor fucking you know, everybody to watch. It was on Sansa, all that
I
stuff. You know what I
know,
mean?
and it's fucked up because they're being used for entertainment purposes, and meanwhile, like he's also a little person, and it's just like, yeah, it's. I I I wrote down this quote here. I have this quote here. I don't know where it happens in these events, so I'll just say it now. Like, but this is all happening when they're all kind of hobnobbing at the wedding. Olena's sitting there. I thought this was a pretty interesting kind of like foreshadowing line here that she says, because she mentions she goes over and talks to Sansa at one point,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she says you know, my apologies for what ended up happening to your brother, like I
yeah,
heard about that. And I like what she said here. She's like, war is war, but killing a man at a wedding, horrid.
yeah.
What sort of monster would do such a thing? Now,
And
seeing what happens at the end of this
yeah,
episode,
it's like
I
what the
think
fuck's going on? Because
right.
well, I think just before you seen the ceremony, there was the part where what's his name, where she was where the grandmother was talking with
Oh, him and
T
Tywin.
and
Yeah,
Tywin,
yeah,
yeah, just
yeah,
having a little talk, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, I mean, they both have. She can hold her own, man. She's not a
I
fucking
like her.
yeah.
Yeah,
Even
she's
though
awesome.
you know Tywin could be a little intimidating,
Well,
right?
she keeps busting out the lines about how they're cheap for fucking this wedding.
Yeah, man.
He's like, well, I don't know, this is awfully extravagant. She's like, I already fucking paid my half, so
Yeah.
beat it.
So yeah, exactly. Like you know what the fuck, man.
um, so they put on the performance. Joffrey, his brother Tommen, and Cersei laugh at the performance.
Like so yeah,
The
looks
the
so bored.
the Tyrells, as well as Varys, Prince Oberyn, Tywin, Tyrion, and Sansa Stark make little effort to hide their disgust at
Yeah.
this. The best is Varys. He gets bonked in the head by one of the little people,
Yeah.
and you see him like go like this. He's so pissed off. He gets bumped in the back of the head. He's just like, oh, like he's just like, what kind of fucking clown show
You're
is
just
this,
watching
right?
this. Yeah. People aren't like there's some people that were, I guess, entertained,
There's
right?
some,
But yeah.
yeah. Most of them are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But of course, this is all Joffrey's doing, right?
Of
So
course. Let him plan his own wedding, like really going.
Loras leaves in anger after watching the crude depiction of his deceased lover, Renly. And Sansa looks on in obvious grief when the dwarf playing her brother Robb is killed after having his wolf's head knocked off. Again, that too, parading around these events in front of her, like after this fucking like Joffrey,
He wanted the
he's
Valyrian
a
sword
sick
to cut
fuck.
off another head. Yeah, like
Yeah,
to cut,
yeah.
you know, like you was saying that too.
So Joffrey expresses his delight with the play and prepares to give the champion dwarf a purse, but then mockingly suggests that Tyrion fight him as well. Now I gotta say, in this moment, Tyrion fucking did a fucking pretty good, like he navigated this situation pretty fucking well, I gotta say, while put on the spot. Like
Yeah.
the way he kind of like the things he chose to say to him, like in this moment, like he played it pretty well. It didn't help out, but he, you know, I gotta say, like he did a pretty good job of navigating this fucked up situation, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I got where are we now? I think I got Marjorie stands up to thank everyone. No.
yeah. Well, that's what ends up happening, right? So basically, um, what is it said here? He suggests that Joffrey should fight instead and show the same bravery he displayed at the Battle of the Blackwater, which we all know he didn't show any bravery. He didn't
No.
actually fight in that, cautioning his nephew to be careful as the champion dwarf is clearly mad with lust. And it would be a tragedy for the king to lose his virtue hours before his wedding night. This draws a few stifled chuckles from their guests. Enraged and humiliated that his uncle outwitted him in front of all his wedding guests, Joffrey pours wine over Tyrion's head and orders him to serve him wine as his cupbearer. So yeah, he's straight up just fucking being an asshole here to him after he outwits him once again, right?
Well, he had asked that he was wanting to leave too. I think.
Well, that's when he gets up to leave, but yeah, and it continues on from there. But hold on, I'm jumping ahead. There's also like there's a lot of hobnobbing going on at the wedding itself. These are just the main, these are just the main things here. There's a good scene where Jamie and Sir Loras talk to each other, and Jamie kind of
bump into each other. But it was a weird look that he gave was it Laris?
Loris.
Loris is giving what's his name, one of those stairs, uh, Pedro
He
Pascal.
threatens. Well, he threatened.
No, he
Oh,
gives him that,
Laura. Yeah,
and
Pedro
that's how
Pascal. Yeah,
as he backed up, he backed
yeah,
into
that's
Jamie,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like they both gave each other that he smile,
Yeah,
like I'll
yeah,
see
yeah.
you later
Pedro
sort
wants
of
him.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Eh,
This is not the same Pedro Pascal that I watched in the last few things, man. This is weird. This tripping me out.
but Jamie in this
Great.
moment sizes up Loris and basically threatens him because she's interested in his sister. This is awesome though. Loris actually fucking with a nice jab towards him. He says, if you were to marry Cersei, she'd murder you in your sleep.
Yeah.
If you somehow managed to put a child in her first, she'd murder him too.
Yeah.
And long before he drew his first breath. And Loris then said back to him, luckily for you, none of this will happen. No, he says, sorry, this is Jamie. Luckily for you, none of this will happen because you'll never marry her. And then Loris is like, and neither will you.
Yeah. People think that they're really that stupid, man.
Yeah.
Like Jamie thinks that everybody,
I know.
they think everybody's stupid, but I feel like everybody fucking knows that they're banging.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like,
well, it's a rumor. It is a rumor that's gone around, right?
What's his name's kid,
Yeah. Then you get the other side of the coin here. Cersei basically being very cold towards Brienne, right?
Yeah.
He puts her on the spot when she asks if she loves Jamie, and she has like a blank look on her face, and you can tell that she does have love for him after everything they went through.
Doesn't mean they're in love, yeah, but
well, that's what she says. He says because at first she walks up to her and she thanks her. He's like, oh, you returned my brother safely to King's Landing. And she says, in truth, he rescued me, your grace. And he said, more than once. He's like, did he? Yeah, Cersei's like trying to act stupid. He's like, oh, did he? I haven't heard that story before. And she's like, oh, it's not such a fascinating story. He's like, oh, I'm sure you have many, right? They're just trying to she's trying to pretend like she's being sweet to her, right?
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
she didn't bring anything up about the bathtub.
She's gritting through her teeth. Yeah, she's just like, yeah.
Jamie turned her straight.
But like Jamie, like from afar, is like seeing this interaction. He's like, oh no, right? Because Jamie kind of has a thing for Brienne too. He like respects her, like, you know what I mean? Like,
are you talking my fucked up sister?
Yeah,
it's almost like that, man.
Yeah,
because Cersei's just I don't know what's in her mind. Every episode is something different on her plan.
And let's not forget. I'm sure you loved old man Meister Pycelle trying to get it in with a young girl. He's like, oh, I could take you to my chambers. I'll examine you personally. Remember that Cersei walks up to him. It's like, you fucking disgust me.
She's annoyed by him.
Yeah. You are annoying me right now. Every breath you draw, my presence annoys me. So here's what I want you to do. Leave my presence. Leave this wedding right now. Because she tells him, because remember, Marjorie interrupts and she says they're going to give all the food to the people of King's Landing, the poor people. That's right.
All the leftovers.
That's right. And then she fucking tells this guy to not make that happen, to like go and like throw out the food or something.
Yeah, feed it to the dogs.
Jesus
that's what she wrote.
Just Christ. Feed it to the dogs, like, how evil is she? Like,
that's what I mean. Like, she's a real fucking like a real cunt.
Yeah, she is. She's a cunt.
Because they use it in this episode. So in this show. So I'm allowed to use it. All right, guys.
So there's also then you see the scene where you see the jester again that gave Sansa the necklace. And again, Joffrey's a prick to him. He makes everyone throw shit at him. Like after, like he's like, "Oh, if whoever can knock his cap off, I'll give you I'll give you something or whatever." Right. So they all start throwing shit at the jester dude. Right. That showed her some kindness. I have a question here. So there's a whole scene here where Pedro finally comes face to face with Tywin and Cersei, and he's kind of a dick towards them, obviously, because he doesn't like them. But they mention in passing here, and where she says, like, can't say I've ever met a Sand before, about that woman. So does he mean like an Indian woman or something? He's like, because he's like, oh, we have a bunch of them where we're from or whatever, right? He's like, we are everywhere in Dorne. Right. Is that what he meant by Sand? Or
I guess so. I mean, I would think. I don't know.
That was her name though, but I also don't know if they called her that because if you looked at her, she looks like of someone who's like her brown complexion. Like she looks kind of like maybe if she's an Indian or something that, right? I don't know.
Asian of some sort.
I don't know. So that I didn't know if that was just some racist way for them to say, like, because she's like, I've never met a Sand before, right? And
Lyria, right? Yeah, this one here. Is she?
That's her name, though, isn't it? Something Sand.
Yeah, Lyra Sand.
Yeah, so maybe
No,
that's what she meant. Maybe she just meant her blood, like those people, like
yeah.
like the Sands. I guess maybe she
But
meant.
no, I think she looks more Hispanic. Maybe I don't know.
Okay, so I didn't. I
Maybe
said
from the desert.
so. I didn't. Well, that's what I mean. I didn't know if that was her just being racist or if that was like actually. But that is if that's her actual name, then
Yeah, that's her
yeah.
name, right?
I do like this little exchange though that Pedro ends up having with Tywin there in this scene, right? Like he's not holding back
Not
this
backing
guy.
down, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, he's making it clear that he fucking doesn't like them,
yeah.
right? And then he's gonna get his revenge, right?
They say they taking all kinds of stuff, even bastards out there,
Mhm,
and they're not talking about the riches. And I think he makes a comment about gout. He was making a comment about his gouter in his foot, like that was in his foot
mhm.
because he was that day that he was apparently sick, right?
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, so back to kind of where we were before. There was a little, like I said, a little hobnobbing between the guests of the wedding, which was always fun to see people uh talking to one another here. Um I did like too how Tyrion, like while he's seen all this shit going on with the dwarves, he goes and turns to Podrick and he tells them to pay each of them 20 gold because I guess he feels bad for the fact that they have to do this and that he's like
yeah,
he wants to show them respect because they're fucking dwarves, right? And like
yeah. It's
he's
one of
like
him.
yeah, well, that's what I mean. He's like pay these men each 20 gold for doing this to Podrick, like he tells him afterwards, right?
Yeah,
So and I really like how he kind of caressed Sansa's hand because he could tell how uncomfortable she was at basically what was going on, like in this while witnessing this, right?
yeah.
So anyways, back to what was going on. After he makes him his cupbearer, Tyrion approaches Joffrey, who then purposely drops the goblet and kicks it under the table.
Dude, what a dick! I would have punched him in the
Right?
balls on the way down.
He's a real big fucking asshole here, and he gets what he deserves, folks. So let's we'll lead up to that here.
Tyrion could give him a headbutt, man. Fuck.
Sansa then in that moment tries to help him and hands him the goblet and he fills it with wine and hands it back to Joffrey. The king demands that Tyrion kneel before him, but when Tyrion refuses, Marjorie interrupts the tense moment and says it's time to cut the pigeon pie.
That was hilarious, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, he cuts it open.
Yeah, and then there's a dead piece of there's a pigeon in the pie still.
Yeah, after the other ones fly off, right?
They show the camera like goes over to the pie and you see like there's some blood in the pie and then he sits there and he starts fucking eating it, bro, like the pie.
I was hoping he was eating the outside and not the
Yeah.
like blood part, but yeah, no, it popped. I was dude.
Joffrey hands the goblet to Marjorie, who then places it at the edge of the table near her grandmother, Olenna. Joffrey draws his new sword, cuts the pie.
I didn't see it where it was placed beside the grandmother,
and that's where it's grabbed afterwards. So
yeah.
I don't know. I was gonna ask you what your theories are at the end of this. We'll
'cause
get to it.
I watched and all I seen was Tyrion pass the fucking goblet. That's all I seen. I
Right.
don't even think he poured anything.
Right.
Right. It was already
Well,
in there. I think it was
it's
poured.
pretty clear it's not Tyrion that did this,
No.
but something went down.
I was like, this guy's having an allergic reaction to the fucking cake.
Right. Joffrey draws his new sword, cuts the pie, and several white doves fly out. Sansa and Tyrion attempt to leave the feast while Marjorie serves Joffrey a piece of pie. Joffrey commands Tyrion to serve him wine to wash down the pie. Tyrion hands the goblet to Joffrey, and he quickly drinks all of it. Joffrey tries to speak, but begins coughing. He grabs his throat, and Marjorie and Olenna exclaim that he is choking and needs help, which I think he was poisoned, not choking. But they again,
he's bleeding through his nose, man. He's got these fucking veins. His eyes.
let's
look
put up a
fucked.
picture of that in a second
Do
here,
they
which
have
I
it?
love. Yeah. Joffrey collapses face down and begins vomiting and convulsing and is visibly in excruciating pain. Jaime and Cersei rush in and turn Joffrey
You
over
could do
on his
before and
back.
after picture, okay?
Yeah. Dantos Hollard suddenly approaches Sansa from behind, which is the jester, and quietly says that she must come with him quickly, and she does. Joffrey points an accusatory finger in Tyrion's direction as he examines the wine goblet, though it is not made clear if Joffrey is accusing Tyrion or merely the wine.
Yeah.
Joffrey's eyes turn red, blood runs from his nose, he stops convulsing and dies. Cersei sobs with grief and orders the King's Guard to seize Tyrion for the poisoning of her son. So
Someone
Tyrion,
that's who's the one who told Sansa to come with him right then?
the jester.
Okay.
So here, what are your theories at this point in time? So we have a couple of people that could have being the perpetrators of this poison of the pie, right?
Yeah.
So the jester rolls up, the jester guy, what's his name? It says here, I said it, Dantos Hollard. He runs up and takes
Dantos, yeah.
Sansa because he sees an opportunity to get her away from all this shit
Yeah,
that's
he
about to go
said,
down,
you
right?
gotta go. Yeah.
Could have been him, but then could have also been the Tyrells, right? I mean, like it did.
Where the bottle. Yeah, I didn't know that it
The
was
cup
placed beside the
cup
grandmother.
was by the grandmother,
I heard what
and
she said earlier in the show, but I didn't think about it then. At that point, I was thinking
I'm
Tyrion. Then
actually I'm not
no, I wasn't
I'm
thinking
not
Tyrion.
spoiling anything for you.
No,
I'm
no,
not,
no.
I don't know. I
I
mean, I
wasn't.
know, but I don't.
I wasn't thinking Tyrion because I genuinely think he just looked surprised. He took all that fucking shit too, anyways. And I don't even see he didn't have a chance to go anywhere to get anything to put in there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't think it was set up because I don't think he knew he was going to be that cup guy, the cup bearer or whatever, right? So I don't know, man. I
I
don't.
just think he's such a piece of
The
shit
jester is
that
on
he
the
forces these
Marjorie's family
people.
side.
No, he's just the jester that's at King's Landing.
Yeah. So who's like? I would think he'd have to. He knows what's his face. Like how would the fuck? Where the fuck? I don't know, man. Where is he? I didn't know where he was taking her. I don't know if that was Tyrion's idea
We
or if
don't
that was
know. No, I don't know.
right.
I don't know.
So I mean, like I was surprised that it was only like really 2 3 seasons you see this Joffrey kid, right? But man, is he? This was fucked up. Yeah, I
I
was not
mean,
expecting
he
it
goes
that
out
quick.
pretty bad, but he deserved this shit,
He
man.
probably wanted. He was pretty. You know what? I feel like maybe he was like get a little cocky, and they wanted. We wanted more money for his fucking guy, so they just killed him off. Fuck it. you know, He's, it's almost like. I mean, how much things have you seen him in since this?
Yeah,
Nothing.
we looked it up.
Yeah,
Remember?
nothing, man.
Yeah,
This character, I think, ruined it all for him.
I
He's got to
think
do
so.
voiceovers and shit now.
There, look,
Mm.
there it is.
Yeah, man, it was pretty rough, dude. Like, I because you see the rosiness and the red, but I don't know the blood in the eyes and the nose. But I see
So
this part here. It looks like allergic reaction of some
yeah,
sort. But
yeah.
then with the blood and all that, it's like, what the fuck, man? That
Uh,
grandmother is sneaky. That grandmother, she is kind of creepy, right? So
I do think it's interesting that that is where, and if you watch it again, even when he goes to grab the goblet again off the table, Tyrion, it
yeah,
is in between his wife and the grandmother.
yeah. So we have to figure that one out, man.
And also like the fact that like I don't know, it doesn't look like he's actually choking, but Marjorie's like, oh, he's choking. Like I was like, I don't know. Right? I don't know. So like I guess you could suspect that he was, but it's clearly he was poisoned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like she was really like like worried. I don't know, and nobody else. I mean,
So, but again, he's just a piece of garbage because he always puts all this bullshit on display and forces people to have to
to
watch
watch
this bullshit.
such shit that
Like
excites
everyone
him.
was so uncomfortable in that moment when he was fucking doing this to Tyrion. Like, it's like, why are you doing this, right? And
But
the fact
and
that
I'm surprised
Cersei
that nobody stood up.
so quick to turn on him at the end there, like, what the fuck,
Like,
right?
I didn't see Tywin. Why wouldn't he stand up? I mean, he's his grandfather. Fuck him. But is it because he's king? He's got to watch what he says there. Like, I don't get it. I would have thought he would have took him out anyways if that was the case. It's his own grandson. Fuck him.
Mhm.
Boom. You know, right? I don't know.
I like how he kept trying to like be playful about it though at first, where he's like, what he spilled, he's like, oh, a fine vintage, shame that it spilled. He's like, it did not spill. Like he's just purposely just fucking with him, but he
He's
keeps
such a
trying.
dick. Yeah.
Tyrion just keeps giving him the opportunity to just be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
Keep
messed,
doing this.
yeah, like he's like, yeah, we'll just play this one off, like you know what I mean, like you don't
That's
have to
why I think
continue to embarrass me, right? He
I don't
gives
know if it was him. I mean, he could have had a. I mean, maybe it was more than one person that worked together in this whole fucking.
Marjorie too, before she interrupted about the pie, was clearly disgusted by everything going on. Like she
Yeah.
was, you could see it on her face. She was very fucking pissed off about what was going on, right?
Who needed the stuff to sleep that time? Who that we found out that sleep something of sleep or whatever?
Nightshade.
Yeah.
You said that he offered it to Sansa.
To Sansa.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. That could have been something. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just still trying to think about
I'm
everything.
just curious if you had any theories. I wrote down here any
No,
theories.
I haven't. I haven't really thought of it. I now that you said to the grandmother, you made it in my head now. It's kind of fucking with me. So I don't know if it's the grandmother or not. That's another thing. So we'll have to figure that out.
I just wrote
That
down things
family.
I noticed in the episode
Hey,
that
maybe
could make
Lannister.
you.
Maybe Tywin and the grandmother had something to do with it because Tywin knows how out of fucking control he is.
Yeah, it's
Maybe.
because this wedding is too expensive.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, you still got to pay for the wedding. What the fuck,
Yeah.
right? You think it? They already ate the food. You waited till the end. I
Yeah.
mean, those little bunch of midgets from everywhere. Like that's another thing, man. Like he put that must have cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Well, he probably just got them to do it for nothing, right? But yeah, that was a nice move that Tyrion did too. That they gave money. But yeah, no, I fucking poor guy. Joffrey just likes picking out people smaller than him.
Mhm.
Fucking, that's what you get, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is. I'm excited to see who it is.
I'm
I like to
excited that
forget.
he's dead.
I thought the way you made it sound, I thought he was gonna be around fucking forever, man. I know he wasn't the only one that I know that it was Peter Dinklage that was around forever, but obviously, uh, I thought he would have been around too. But who knows, man? With
I
this
mean,
show, this show
listen,
fucks
he
with you.
did a good job. He was somebody you love to hate.
That was his role.
Yeah, he did a good job. So I'll give him that. The guy who played him did a good job. But I'm not going to be sad to see him go just because like I said, you fuck with my boy Tyrion like that, I'm not going to like you because Tyrion's my favorite character. So like I never liked Joffrey because he was
Oh, I
such a
know you
prick to
did.
him,
I
right?
know you
So
did.
and listen, don't get me wrong, Tyrion didn't respect him either, and like
Yeah,
he was an asshole to him as
course.
well. But he
That's
he
his nephew. Why
yeah,
not?
exactly.
I mean, I'm pretty sure my uncle could be a dick to me too if
Right,
that was the case.
right. So yeah, no, it was. Listen, it was a good way to go out, man. I think it was a good death in terms of like the fact that
It
we
was
got,
interesting.
like you said, the fact that we got this on the second episode of this season, just off of the fucking shit that happened with the Red Wedding at the end of the last season, and they waste no time to take out another big character, like Leslie Stats there said to you, Jay. This show does not care about your feelings.
I
Like
noticed that.
you
But I
like
mean, I
it,
don't care that. I mean, the feeling wasn't there for
but
him as much.
but the thing is, they have
Like, you
so
know?
many new characters to go around. They
Yeah.
can literally just kill these characters off episode to
One by one,
episode,
yeah,
right? And it
one
doesn't
by one.
matter because they're like, I'm just gonna introduce you to an equally, if not better, interesting character.
Yeah. We'll turn an extra into an actual
Yeah.
an actor now. So
Yeah.
yeah, here we go. But no, I know it's been getting interesting, man. And I want to like not. I didn't think this season was gonna start off like that. I thought it was gonna be one of those like, I think it's gotta go hard now from here on to the end, right?
Well, like I said, our next guest did request to come on later this season, and there is
It must be a crazy part.
there's a doozy of an episode coming up, of course, as always.
Yeah,
So
so-
this was a big one too, though, as far as I'm concerned, and does not look good for Tyrion at the end of this. So I'm excited to look forward to talking about the next one, right?
Maybe if I pay Angel's hockey money, he'll come on the show.
Oh, have you not paid up yet?
No, yeah, I'll see him in person. It's all good. Just in case you're watching this one, Angel.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I was about to say you may have to drop him as a guest now.
Yeah, now yeah, exactly. He might not come on the show. So,
Oh boy.
but yeah, so this is getting really good. I'm like, I'm liking the show. I hate
Good.
to admit that, I'm liking stuff that
Yeah,
Nico.
it just took you fucking 10 years to watch it or whatever, like, or 15 years, however long it's been. Yeah, listen, I mean, this guy's apparently discovering all kinds of good shows nowadays, guys. I like he's been telling me he's been watching Arrested Development that's been around for 20 fucking years. So hey, man, there's hope for anyone out there, guys. There's hope for anyone.
That was just 20 years ago. I was trying to get laid more than anything to watch TV. Now I'm trying to watch TV more than the other way
Hey,
around.
you're like broad now. You're like I'm
I'm
old
just
now.
too old,
Yeah.
man. Fuck that, man. I'm just gonna watch TV all the time.
There you go.
There you go. So, but yeah,
Well, don't
thanks
worry.
again,
Game of
everybody.
Thrones at least gives you enough titties to go around, right?
Oh, you know what? It shares its amount. I mean, they're always addressing at least somebody in the episode.
And then whether it's a man's ass that you're seeing or what.
I'm waiting to see Pedro Pascal
There you
if he's
go.
got his ass showing in this one.
Listen, the
knows?
way he was looking at Loris like a snack in this
Oh,
one.
man,
Yeah.
that threw me off. I mean, I kind of figured it. I'm like, maybe,
Yeah.
right? But
Bro, this guy's-
until they gave each other the look.
this
and
guy's
that
gonna-
universal handshake with the
This
grab the
guy,
cock.
this guy's out to bag all of them, bro. I think that's how he's gonna get back at all these people.
That's it, man. He's going around. He's gonna impregnate them all, male and female.
Oh, there you go, guys. So
Oh.
that's gonna do it for this one. Another great episode, The Lion and the Rose. What's the name of the next one? Actually, we don't have that queued up. You have
one
that?
there is called The Breaker of Chains.
The Breaker of Chains, which is Daenerys, which is the Khaleesi, I believe, because she's the one that That's the one who that's what they call her
Okay.
because she's the one that frees the slaves.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
okay.
so it looks like it's probably going to be a Daenerys focus episode of the next one, anyways, or at least part of it. So there you go, guys. So that's gonna do it for this one. Make sure you're subscribed, all that good stuff. Go back in the feed, look for our episodes. We try to bring these out every week on Thursdays, weekly. So check that out. They air live. You can always
Live
feel free
premiere.
to go, live premiere. You can always go in the comments there and throw up a comment for us to see whether
These
it's
are best viewed shows, better than the live ones.
hey,
Man. That's the
listen,
best,
man,
man.
it's good
Guys,
stuff.
thanks for watching, man.
Thanks for watching.
If you guys even listen to our nonsense, but I
Hey,
think we have good little opinions here and there.
it's a good conversation. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's always a lot of fun. We look
Not
forward to
opinions,
it.
yeah, conversations.
Yeah, and like I said, we have guests coming up, so stay tuned for that. And good stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
All right,
all right,
brother.
man. We'll see you guys next time. Later.
Peace out.